Hi everyone, I'm Veer Mahajan. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play the King's Indian. This opening can be played with white and black, and it's very similar to the Dutch defense. So if you haven't watched my video about the Dutch defense, make sure to look at that. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start with how to play the King's Indian with white, and the way you start that is by playing knight to f3. Okay, and actually, since this opening is a setup based opening, and the moves that you want to play are d3, knight to f3, g3, and bishop to g2. You can actually change the order a bit if you want, but I recommend starting with knight to f3. Let's say your opponent plays d4, sorry, d5. We can just continue with this. Let's say they play this. We can play bishop here. And now let's say they play knight to c6. And what this move does is that, first of all, it develops a knight, and then it allows the move e5, right? So the knight also defends the square. So now if our knight can't capture the pawn when it moves there. So I recommend just castling after this. And then after they play this, now they're threatening to move here, take some space in the center and attack your knight, right? But you don't want that to happen. So I recommend playing the move d3. And this move is a very, very good move because it has a lot of stuff is done by this move. And let me just show you what happens if they continue the plan. So let's say they play e4. Now you take their pawn, okay? And now you'll see what happens. If they don't take the pawn, you're just a pawn up, and then you can move your pawn here in the future, and it's going to be protected by your knight. So you're just a pawn up, which is a good thing. And if they take, and let me actually just show the line so that you can see. Yeah, queen takes d8, right? This is the best move, and I'll tell you why. So taking the queen here is the best move for multiple reasons. If the knight takes, right? First of all, they have to take the queen, like otherwise they can't move their king anywhere. So it's basically forced to take the queen. So if they take with the knight, all of these pieces, not the pawns, but all of the pieces are in the same row as they were in the beginning of the game. While we have a knight here and a bishop here, so we are able to move on knight wherever we want, and really just we'll be winning after this. Okay. And if they take with the king, since we've already castled, we can just give them a check. And it doesn't matter that our knight can be taken because it's check, and I have to take care of that first. So whatever, let's say they play something like this. Now you can get your knight out of danger by moving it maybe here or something, and now you're threatening a fork. But anyway, yeah, so taking the queen is good because either they move all of their pieces, right? The knight, when it goes here, all of their pieces to the last row, or they stop the king from castling. But if you don't want to do that, I'm going to show you the other things that the move d3 allowed you to do. So let's say you don't want to trade queens, though I don't know why you wouldn't, because it does a lot of damage to them. You can move your knight here, right? In the beginning, the pawn was over here, so you can't move your knight there, but now you can. And actually, this is a double attack on the pawn now because the bishop is also attacking it, and so is the knight. And so the only way for them to is stick onto the pawn without losing material is by playing f5, and then it's just like you can just continue to develop like this and add another attacker to this pawn. To this pawn, and it's just a good position for you. So this is the other option that you have, and the other option is to go here. So again, you're attacking this pawn with the knight and with the bishop, and now the queen is attacking the knight, but it's defended by the bishop. If you hadn't played d3, the pawn would still be here, and the bishop would be blocked, so this knight wouldn't be able to go there either. So yeah, that's basically why d3 is a critical move. But yeah, after this, whatever this thing, so basically after you've castled, that's basically how you play the King's Indian with white. So now let me show you how to play it with black. And the way you play it with black is again like the same setup, but let me just show you because there are a few different things to do here. So let's say they play d4, you play knight to f6, and now they play this. Okay, you should play this because now you do have control on some of these squares. The pawn, yeah, the pawns do occupy some squares, So that's a good thing. And then your next idea is to move your knight here. Generally, when you move your d pawn, like when you move your queen's pawn, then you don't want to block. You don't want to block. Oops. Wait a minute. You don't want to block this pawn in by moving a knight here, because this pawn is also pretty important. So both of these pawns are important, and that's why most of your opponents will probably play something like c4 and then knight to c3. But you just continue again with the same setup, right? And yeah, this is the King's Indian defense. Yeah, let's say they play knight to c3. I recommend continuing like this, and then after they play this, after they play e4, defended by the knight. Again, basically the same move, except it's on the different side, so it's uh, different. It's d6 instead of d3. But yeah, just play this move, and it's the same thing, because if they push, then you can take and take back, and then there are all the ideas about capturing the queen and stuff. But also, if they don't do that this time, like when you're playing with black, you can also play e5 yourself, and then if they take, you can take. But I think you should castle before that. Let me just make them play a random move like this. I recommend castling first, so that now when you do play something like this in the future, because right now the bishop is attacking and the pawn is attacking, but whatever, maybe after something like this, or knight here, then you can play this move. And the point is now that when they take your queen, your rook will protect it, and then your rook will just visualize it. Okay, wait, let me just, I'm going to play a random move and just show you what it looks like. So you play e5. Wait, sorry, no. Yeah, you play this. So you are now controlling the square. And now let's just say they play this. Now the point is that after this, takes, the bishop can't take because a knight protects. So let's say the bishop just goes back, like maybe here. Yeah, this is a good move, I think. You have a lot of discovered attacks on the queen. And what I mean by that is that wherever you move your knight, their queen will be attacked. And then if they take your queen, this is the good thing about having castled already. Your rook takes it, and then you have this open file, and they can't castle because they can't castle through check. So again, both playing the King's Indian with both sides, it's pretty similar. But yeah, let me actually quickly show you what to play after e4. Okay, because now if you play this, if you play knight f6, they'll keep on attacking you, and it's just not going to be an easy game to play. So after they play e4, I recommend playing d6, so that you take this square away from them. It's basically the same, except you've just switched the order, and this is actually called the Perk defense. I think that's how you pronounce it. But the point is, like, let them play this move, um, and then you can play this. And now if they do this, it's basically the same thing, right? Takes. Now you can take that queen, and you can move your knight back. It's basically the exact same, except it's a bit different for when they play e4 and when they play d4 or something else. So I hope you learned something from this video, how to play the King's Indian with black and white. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.